What's up, gang, and welcome to this brief demonstration on how to acquire the Drake Sword. For this method, we're going to be using the short bow, and the short bow is easily acquired because it's the initial equip for the Hunter class in addition to 30 standard arrows. The other method of acquiring is purchasing it from the Undead Merchant in the Undead Burg for 1,000 souls. Not only that, but he sells standard arrows for 30 souls apiece. Now you can actually use any bow for this method. I'm just choosing to use the short bow because it's easily acquired and the stat requirements are pretty low. The stat requirements for the short bow is 7 strength and 12 dexterity. If you start with the Hunter class, you've got that. If you start with the Warrior class, you've got that. You may need to level some other classes in those stats. But once those requirements are met, you can go ahead and start shooting at the Drake's tail. At this thin portion right here, whenever he flies a little closer, you can get a second hit in. Now, you can use, like I said, you can use any bow for this, as long as you meet the stat requirements. It usually takes approximately 20 shots to get the tail to cut, so to speak. But it can take less. I just missed a few times. Once enough arrows have made contact with the tail, the Drake Sword will automatically get added to the player's inventory. Just like that. Okay, so that has been the short bow method, and I'm going to show you the sword method next. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be the sword method. A bit of a warning, the sword method is a little bit more dangerous than the bow method because you come into contact with the Hellkite Drake. But anyway, we're going to be using the short sword for this demonstration because just like with the short bow, it's easily acquired because it's the initial equip of the warrior class, and you can also get it as a drop from some of the undead soldiers, the ones who sport a sword and a shield. The other item recommended for this method is the gold pine resin found in this chest behind a locked door in the Undead Burg. In order to use this, to unlock this door, you need the residence key. The master key, I believe, will work, but if you don't have that, then you can purchase the residence key from, of course, no one other than the Undead Merchant. So you set yourself up as if you're trying to run past him. Before he flies down, you want to throw on the gold pine resin. And once it does eventually fly down, you want to run to the side, chop at the tail, and eventually it will give way, and just like previously, the weapon will be automatically added to your inventory. So I'd recommend getting away from the Drake at this point because it don't play around. And in the next video, we will cover the stat requirements and reinforcement options. Until then, bye-bye.